faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hi, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, I'm introducing a book called Duet, Dialogue Between Redology and Qing History. The author of this book is historian Han Yilong. Han was originally a PhD in astronomy from Columbia University, but in 1987, he suddenly switched careers and began studying Chinese history. He's now a renowned scholar, proving that smart folks can succeed at anything. In 2010, Huang started researching Dream of the Red Chamber. The novel's creation and its author, Cao Xueqin, have always been huge historical mysteries. Huang hoped to find traces of Cao Xueqin's family and real-life inspirations for the novel's stories in Qing Dynasty History. So this duet has a subtitle, Dialogue Between Redology and Qing History. Some might say this topic has been thoroughly explored already. Can Professor Huang bring anything new to the table? Actually, yes. In recent years, many ancient texts have been digitized, making it easy for readers to access and search them online. Even if you're an expert in history, just pressing enter can reveal new clues you've never seen. New historical materials. While writing this book, Hong fully used the convenience of digitized texts, calling his method easy evidential research. From databases, Hong uncovered many overlooked facts, including Cao Xueqin's family background, social networks, and Qing political conflicts he might have known about. Specifically, the author reveals three aspects of how Qing history relates to Dream of the Red Chamber. First, Cao Xueqin's family experiences are mirrored in the novel. Second, many stories in the novel have real-life prototypes in Qing history. Third, Qing political culture influenced how the novel was passed down. Let's start with the first relationship. Huang believes Cao Xueqin's family had three traits that deeply shaped the novel. First, the Caos deeply understood both Manchu and Han cultures. Second, the family relationships were very complex. Third, the family's fate had many ups and downs. At the end of the Ming Dynasty, the Qing rose outside the Great Wall. The fate of Cao Xueqin's family changed dramatically during this upheaval. Cao Xueqin's great-great-grandfather, his grandfather's grandfather, was named Cao Zhenyan. In the first year of the Ming Dynasty's Tianqi era, 1621, the Ming army was defeated, Shenying fell, and Cao Zhenyan in Shenyang was captured by the Qing forces. Soon after, Cao Zhenyan surrendered and became a bui, household slave, to Ajige, son of Nurhaci. To elevate his social status, Cao Zhenyan actively advanced within the Manchu regime. Initially, he taught Chinese at Manchu government schools, soon earning an official internship through competence. Later, through outstanding performance, he became a full official. His position was Nu Lu Zhangjing, a Nu Lu being a military unit in the 8-banner system. A Neo Lu comprised 300 men, with their leader called the Neo Lu. The Zhangjing became a full official. Later, leveraging his Han identity, Cao helped persuade Ming generals to surrender, earning a half-future reward. Future here means prospect, as in bright future. Though just half, it meant the chaos gained hereditary nobility, significantly raising their status. However, things didn't always go smoothly. Around Shunzi's first year, before 1644, he was dismissed. The specific reason remains unknown today. After the Qing entered China proper and established their dynasty, the Cao sought revival. The new regime needed bilingual officials, Cao's perfect opportunity. He passed imperial exams to become Shanxi magistrate, later promoted to prefect. He rose to transport commissioner of Lianshe, comparable to deputy bureau to near vice ministerial level today. Cao Zhanyan's efforts laid the Cao family's foundation for nearly a century. Han Yilong notes, after surrendering pre-164-4, Cao became deeply Manchu acculturated. Post-conquest, to better rule, they actively adopted Han culture in central China. Cao thus reclaimed his Han heritage, making the Caos a Manchu-Han blended family. This cultural fusion appears throughout Dream of the Red Chamber. For example, in chapter 25, concubine Zhao bribes sorceress Ma to curse Wang Shifeng and Jia Baoyu, first placing 5 green-faced demons and paper effigies on their beds. The paper effigy had the victim's birth characters written on it. Then sorceress Ma performed rituals at home, causing Wang Shifeng and Jia Baoyu to become possessed and insane. This curse method in the novel originates from the Manchu's important belief system, shamanism. Meanwhile, Han cultural elements are also prevalent. For example, both Lin Daiyu and Jia Baoyu study Han Confucian classics like the 4 books and 5 classics. It can be said that Cao Xueqin's great-great-grandfather, Cao Zhenyan's experiences laid the foundation for the Manchu-Han cultural fusion in Dream of the Red Chamber. Next, Huang Yilong examines Cao Xueqin's family relationships. Cao Xueqin's grandfather, Cao Yin, was the family's eldest son born of a concubine. Born of a concubine means children of secondary wives, as opposed to born of principal wife, children of the legal spouse. Cao Yin's biological mother was a Han Chinese concubine in the family. As mentioned earlier, after Cao Zhenyan surrendered to the Qing, he became a bully to Qing nobility. So the entire Cao family became bannermen. In a banner household, a Han concubine status was nearly equivalent to a servant. This background made Cao Yin constantly tread carefully, living on thin ice at home. One incident clearly illustrates this. Cao Yin had a distant uncle named Gu Jingxing, a famous early Qing writer. Their relationship was quite fascinating. Initially, Gu repeatedly hinted at their blood relation in poems to Cao, yet they never addressed each other as uncle and nephew. Only after over 20 years did Cao publicly call Gu his uncle. Sadly, Gu had already died by then. Why did this happen? The author explains that Gu held no official position then to the chaos. Such relatives brought no benefits and could be burdens. Moreover, when they connected, Cao's mother had died. So, under family pressure, Cao lacked courage to acknowledge his uncle. Later, favored by Emperor Kangxi, Cao's status soared. His deceased mother received imperial honors, elevating her status, enabling Cao to publicly acknowledge Gu as uncle. This example shows the pressures Cao Yin faced growing up and the Cao family's complex relationships. These are reflected throughout Dream of the Red Chamber. We all know Jia Shi is the eldest son in Rongol Mansion, yet household affairs are managed by his younger brother, Jia Sheng. Jia Shi has a cold relationship with grandmother Jia, even hinting at her favoritism during the Mid-Autumn banquet. Though the author doesn't explicitly state why, we might glimpse the truth from a subtle hint. In the novel, Jia Baoyu's brother, Jia Huan, is born of a concubine and is consistently demeaned throughout the story. Interestingly, when Jia Huan composed poetry at a banquet, only Jia Shi praised him, encouraging him to pursue the hereditary title while using inclusive terms like us to bond with him. Based on this detail, the author boldly speculates Jia Shi might also be concubine-born, with his praise representing a challenge from concubine-born faction to legitimate-born faction. Regardless of this speculation's validity, we can confirm the Cao family's complex relationships significantly influenced Dream of the Red Chamber. Another crucial factor was the Cao family's dramatic social fluctuations during the Kangxi and Yongzheng reigns. In Kangxi's second year, 166, Cao Xueqin's great-grandfather, Cao Shi, became Jiangning Textile Commissioner. The textile office handled all textiles for imperial use. The textile commissioner managed this department. There were 3 major textile offices in Jiangnan: Suzhou, Hanzhou, and Jiangning, modern Nanjing. So how important was the Jiangning Textile Commissioner? In rank, it wasn't high, only 5th grade, equivalent to bureau-level official today. But since emperors personally appointed them, and they could secretly report, They acted as imperial eyes and ears. Thus, the Jiangning textile commissioner wasn't much inferior to first-grade officials. Starting with Cao Shi, the Cao family held this position for nearly 60 years. Cao Xueqin's grandfather, Cao Yin, was the second Jiangning textile commissioner. The Cao family rose under him, partly due to Emperor Kangxi's deep trust. He also actively used marriage alliances to elevate his family's status. He persuaded Kangxi to betroth his eldest daughter to Prince Pingzheng Nersu while marrying his sister to the Fucha clan, one of the 8 great Manchu families. The Pingzheng prince's residence and the Fucha clan were among the most prestigious families at the time. Through marriage alliances with them, the Cao family gradually entered the upper echelons of Qing society. At the same time, the Cao family also expanded their influence in the Jiangnan region effectively through marriages. Specifically, the Cao family formed a vast network of in-laws with the Li and Ma families, who served as Suzhou textile commissioners, and the Jin family, who served as Hangzhou textile commissioner. Their relationship resembles the Jia, Shi, Wang, and Shui families in Dream of the Red Chamber, supporting each other, intermarrying, sharing prosperity and downfall. Through these means, the Cao family greatly enhanced their political, economic, and social status, and began living an extremely luxurious life. However, after Cao Yin's death, the Cao family gradually declined. And so, during the Yongzheng era, Cao Xueqin's father, Cao Fu, was dismissed, and his family assets confiscated by Emperor Yongzheng due to repeated errors and massive deficits in his textile commissioner role. After reviewing the Cao family's turbulent history, the author states that during the Kangxi era, when Cao Yin served as Jiangning textile commissioner, the Cao family's prosperity reached its peak. The experience of luxurious living enabled Cao Xueqin to meticulously describe every aspect of an opulent lifestyle, and during the Yongzheng era, the painful experience of his father's dismissal and confiscation gave Cao Xueqin a sharp insight into society. It can be said that it was precisely these dramatic family ups and downs that shaped Cao Xueqin and Dream of the Red Chamber. All right, that's all for the first part. Next, let's discuss some stories in Dream of the Red Chamber and their relationship with Qing history. You may have heard that Dream of the Red Chamber is based on Cao Xueqin's own family. However, the author believes that the novel isn't based on just one family, but draws widely from multiple families and historical events of the time. It's a synthesis, and these families and events mainly stem from the author's own experiences and those of his friends and relatives. Through analysis, Mr. Huang Yilong concludes that the novel's sources come mainly from 3 aspects. First, the deeds of the Minju and Fucha families. Second, the return visit of former imperial consorts to their hometowns during the Qianlong era. Third, political struggles in the early Qing period. Let's first look at the relationship between the Minju family and Dream of the Red Chamber. The author believes that the 7 characters in the Grand View Garden, 6 females and 1 male, are based on the 7 children of the Minju family. Mingju's full name is Nalin Mingju, one of the highest-ranking officials during Kangxi's reign, who served as Grand Secretary of the Wuying Hall, equivalent to a Qing Dynasty prime minister. During the mid-Kangxi era, Mingju was dismissed for participating in factional struggles. Though later reinstated, he was never again entrusted with important responsibilities. His eldest son was the renowned Qing poet Nalan Xingde, who wrote the famous lines, "If life were but as when first we met, why should the autumn wind grieve the painted fan?" For a long time, some readers have claimed Dream of the Red Chamber is based on the Nalin Mingshu family, with Jia Baoyu's prototype being Nalin Xingde. However, many others oppose this view. For example, Hu Shi noted that Jia Baoyu experiences the Jia family's confiscation and decline in the novel, while Nalan Shinde died when his family was at its peak. Their experiences completely different. Huxi's perspective gained widespread academic acceptance. As the connection between Nalan Shinde and Jia Baoyu was severed, the Mingzhu family's link to the novel was rarely mentioned again. Through research, Huang Yilong proposed another possible connection between the Mingzhu family and Dream of the Red Chamber. Mingzhu had a grandson named Nalan Yongshu, who raised 7 children, 4 daughters, 1 nephew, and 2 nieces. All 7 received excellent educations, each well-versed in Confucian classics and skilled in poetry. The author believes these 7 children resembled the Grand View Gardens situation. 1 nephew like Jia Baowu, 4 daughters like Yuan Chun, Yingxun, and Tanchun, and Sichun. The 4 springs and 2 nieces resembling Lin Daiyu and Shui Baochai. The cultural refinement of the 6 Nalan sisters easily evokes the novel's poetry clubs like the Crab Flower Club and Baochai's poetry discussions. So, what connection do the 6 Nalan sisters have with Cao Xueqin? Examining their marriages, all married imperial relatives with prestigious statuses, and one married Cao Xueqin's cousin. Thus, Cao Xueqin likely learned about the Nalan family stories from his cousin and incorporated them into the novel. Beyond the Mingzhu family, the author also believes Jia Yuanshun bears resemblance to Empress Fucha. Empress Fucha was Emperor Qianlong's first wife from one of the Qing's most powerful families. In Chapter 5, Jia Baoyu reads The Register of 12 Beauties in the Land of Illusion. A verse widely considered about Jia Yuanshun states, For 20 years, right and wrong to discern, pomegranate blooms, light palace halls. 3 springs cannot match first spring's scene, where hare meets tiger, the great dream ends. Mr. Huan Yilong points out that this verse aligns remarkably with Empress Fucha's life, specifically. For 20 years, right and wrong to discern, from Empress Fucha's marriage to Qianlong until her death was just over 20 years, making this time frame accurate. To discern right and wrong means distinguishing truth from falsehood, referring to Empress Fucha's fair governance and public admiration, which Emperor Qianlong himself acknowledged. The second line, pomegranate blooms light palace halls. Empress Fucha's first son, Young Hong, was secretly designated heir by Qianlong. Sadly, this child died young. Years later, she bore another son, Young Kong, whom Qianlong also considered for succession, events that indeed lit palace halls like pomegranate blooms. The final line, Where hare meets tiger, the great dream ends. Young Kong was born in the year of the tiger and died in the following year of the hare. Hare meets tiger directly refers to this tragedy. Empress Fucha's dream of her son succeeding the throne shattered, and she died of grief just 2 months after Young Kong, truly embodying the great dream ends. Dreams shattered, life ended, perfectly matching the great dream ends. Additionally, Jia She's sons, Jia Lian and Jia Kong, share names with Fucha sons, while Chapter 5's resentment at impermanence son hints Jia Yuanqin died abroad, mirroring Fucha's death during an imperial tour. Combined, this evidence strongly suggests the Fucha family's experiences deeply influenced the novel's plot. Next, let's examine another crucial plot point. The imperial consort's home visit episode describes Jia Zheng's daughter, Yuan Chun, becoming an imperial consort who visits her family during Lantern Festival with emperor's permission. But historically, Qing consorts rarely left the palace to visit relatives. So where did this story originate? Through detailed research, the author discovered Emperor Qianlong permitted a few former consorts to visit families, with Consort Wang likely being Yuan Shun's prototype. Consort Long served Emperor Kangxi and became a grand consort under Qianlong. 2 key evidences support her as Yuan Shun's inspiration. 2 key evidences exist. First, only by examining Consort Wang's story can we understand Zhuan Shai's commentary on Yuan Shun. Scholars widely believe Zhuan Shai was contemporary with Cao Xueqin and closely connected to his family. His commentaries align perfectly with Cao's intentions, making them crucial for understanding Dream of the Red Chamber. Zhuan Shai commented, using the home visit to depict the southern tour. This remark seems puzzling at first glance. How could a consort's visit connect to imperial tours? But closer reading reveals numerous southern tour references throughout the novel. For example, Yuan Chun's visit occurs during Lantern Festival when Beijing should be frozen. Yet the novel features boat tours through Grandview Garden. The author suggests these reflect Emperor Kangxi's river journeys. But how does this work? To explain, we must examine Consort Wang's story. Wang accompanied Kangxi on his southern tour and reunited with parents lost for 20 years, blending homecoming and imperial journey. Cao Xueqin used Wang's experience for Yuan Shun's visit, hence the mixed southern tour details. Thus, Zhu Sai said Cao used the home visit to depict the southern tour. Zai also noted Yuan Chun's visit shows memories evoking present reflections, seemingly abrupt. What memories and reflections? What memories and reflections? But understanding Wang's life clarifies this. Memories referred to Wang finding parents during the tour. Present reflections to Qianlong permitting her home visit. The present specifically means Qianlong allowing Wang's homecoming. Second evidence, Cao Xueqin could access details of Consort Wang's visit. As mentioned earlier, Cao was related to the 6 Nolan sisters. One sister married Consort Wang's grandson. Thus, the author deduces Cao knew more about Wang than ordinary people. Now, you might ask, if Yuan Chun reflects Empress Future, but her visit comes from Wang, isn't this contradictory? Actually, this isn't contradictory at all. It's precisely the important concept the author wants to convey. He believes Dream of the Red Chamber's relationship with Qing history isn't a simple one-to-one correspondence. On the contrary, he argues that a single character or event in the book likely blends multiple sources, like Jia Yuanchen combining Empress Fucha and Consort Wang. After discussing Yuan Chun's visit, the author shifts from specific examples to propose early Qing political struggles as key novel material. Political struggles often ended with prominent families' properties being confiscated. Thus, besides Rongguo and Ningguo mentions confiscation, Chapter 75 also mentions the Zhen family's seizure. These confiscation stories and details likely drew from historical Qing political conflicts. The author analyzes that Cao Xueqin knew too much about political struggles. The rise and fall of great families deeply moved him. So his novel carries the profound joys and sorrows of those fallen nobles. For instance, after Dorgan's death during Shunji's reign, Emperor Shunji eliminated factions of Dorgan and his brother Ajige. Cao Xueqin's great-great-grandfather Cao Zhenyan was Ajige's household slave, and Cao befriended Ajige's descendants. Thus, Cao knew much about Ajige and Dorgan's families and wove their stories into the novel. Many novel details echo the Ajige-Dorgan brothers. For example, Dorgan was Shunzi's regent, matching the regent reference to Jiashei's brothers, a technique Cao favored. Moreover, Ajige and Dorgan's relationship mirrors that between Ronggu and Ninggu mentions. Additionally, the Jia family possessed items exceeding their social status. For instance, black fox fur was extremely rare. Only special imperial grantees like Dorgan owned it. This concludes part 2. Next, let's examine Qing society's impact on the novel's circulation. Here, the author investigates the novel's early readers, dissemination paths, and suppression. He believes Dream of the Red Chamber's earliest readers were mainly descendants of political struggle losers. He terms these readers families of the afflicted. As we just mentioned, Descendants of Aji and Dorgan were Cao Xueqin's close friends, the novel's earliest readers. Why were these families of the afflicted so passionate about reading Dream of the Red Chamber? Because the novel incorporated early Qing political struggles, letting them channel their pain and resentment through the story. They also avidly searched for reflections of specific Qing families in the novel. Some claim the Minju family was the prototype, others suggested Fu Heng's family, and some even named Hessian's clan. Regardless, Dream of the Red Chamber became their emotional vessel, examining dissemination. The novel spread from Manchu bannerman circles to Han Chinese networks. Bannerman circles consisted mainly of these families of the afflicted. Han circles involved officials connected to bannermen, with Yuan Mei as the most influential Han reader. Yuan Mei, a famous Qianlong era literary figure, set intellectual trends and was wildly popular. He claimed everything has followers, named his garden Suyuan, and compiled an essay collection called Suyuan Poetry Talks. Early editions mentioned Dream of the Red Chamber, stating the Grandview Garden referred to his Suyuan in Jiangming. But Han Yilong compared 40-plus editions, finding Yuan later altered this passage to deny the garden connection. Horn deduced Yuan initially cited a friend's poem linking Suiyan to the novel without verification. Later realizing no actual connection existed, he deleted the reference. Despite Yuan's correction, his early editions had spread widely, misleading many researchers due to his influence. Additionally, Yuan mistakenly identified Cao Yin as Cao Xueqin's father rather than grandfather. This error spread like wildfire through the novel's dissemination channels. Finally, let's discuss the bans Dream of the Red Chamber faced during mid to late Qing Dynasty. During the Jia-Qing era, officials claimed that adultery and incest depicted in Dream of the Red Chamber were slandering and belittling the Manchu people, so they tried to ban and destroy it within their province. By the Xianfeng and Tangji years, the Taiping Rebellion erupted, plunging society into chaos. At this point, some officials blamed the people's moral decay and rebellions on obscene, vulgar novels, spreading rumors and misleading minds, with Dream of the Red Chamber being one culprit. Thus, Dream of the Red Chamber faced bans and destruction again in some regions. Beyond the novel's banning, Cao Xueqin's family endured persecution in public opinion. During the Daoguan era, Mao Qingjin, a key figure in Suzhou gentry, not only claimed Cao Xueqin went to hell after death, but also linked him to a Tianli sect leader. Kowloon was Cao Xueqin's grandson. The Tianli sect was a Qing folk religion that launched an armed rebellion during the Jia-Qing era, even breaching the Forbidden City. Kowloon was a rebellion leader later executed by Lingqi. But no grandfather-grandson relationship existed between Cao Xueqin and Kowloon. Mao Qingjin was purely spreading rumors. So why did Mao Qingjin slander Cao Xueqin like this? It's because the novel's spread was so huge that people saw reading it and opium smoking as top social trends. Mao thought it misled people and taught bad behavior, so he aimed to tarnish Cao's family to discredit the novel. Interestingly, Mao Qingchen even planned to spread Dream of the Red Chamber overseas to poison Westerners as revenge for them bringing opium to China. Hung Yilong analyzed that from these repeated bans and persecutions, we can see the novel's massive influence in society at the time. Well, with that said, today's content is pretty much covered. The book's subtitle is Dialogue Between Redology and Qing History. Author Hong Yilong truly shows the rich connections between Dream of the Red Chamber and Qing Dynasty history. From the author's view, the Cao family journey from captured slaves to wealthy nobles, then confiscated and impoverished, formed the turbulent century-long family history that became the novel's foundation. from the novel's sources, whether macro political struggles or micro imperial consort home visits, all became artistic inspiration. From the novel's circulation, whether accepted and spread or banned and destroyed, it was rooted in the era's social conditions and ideologies. You could say this book isn't just about the dialogue between Redology and Qing history. It's revealing how literary works connect with history. Qianlong shows us how to read literary works within the long river of history to gain deeper understanding. Finally, I got to remind you, research on Dream of the Red Chamber is often super complex, with tons of questions still being academic mysteries. Mr. Huang Yilong's research might not be spot on every time, but his approach opens up our perspective on understanding the novel. It's kind of like a unique supplement to this story full of flaws and regrets. All right, the duet between Redology and Qing history. That's the intro to this book for you. Meeting notes are below the audio. Catch you tomorrow.